I'm Kathleen Klompien in the University Writing Center here at CSU Channel Islands. I'm working on a couple of videos today on the topic of plagiarism. The first one's pretty basic and discusses what counts as plagiarism. Let's get started. So what counts as plagiarism? We all know that if you submit a paper that you didn't write as your own, even if your best friend gave it to you with her best wishes, that is considered plagiarism. That's level 1 plagiarism. Levels 2 and 3 aren't quite so overt, but they're also considered plagiarizing. If you include a section in your paper that you didn't write, this could even be a paragraph, and you don't cite it, that's plagiarism. The third level is if you try to paraphrase it, but your paraphrase is way too close to the original, or if you don't have a proper citation that your professor could go and look up, that's considered plagiarism. A good rule of thumb here is that if you cut it and you paste it, you've also got to cite it. We're going to go into a little more detail about citation in a later video, but it's really important before you start a paper to know what style guide your class is using. So what needs to be cited? If you include any ideas that aren't your own, if you include the textbook or class notes, those need to be cited unless your professor tells you otherwise. If you did any research, that's got to be cited. Then we come to this concept of common knowledge, and that's a little stickier. Common knowledge is supposedly what everybody knows. But how do we know what everybody knows? Who's everybody? Well, rules to go by are if it can be found in multiple places, if it's something that would be included in the dictionary or an encyclopedia reference. And this one's a little trickier. If your audience already knows it to be true, all those things could be common knowledge. But if you're ever in doubt, cite it. Your professor is not going to ding you for oversighting. He or she might talk to you about your citations, but you certainly wouldn't be accused of plagiarism. Let's use an example. The Golden Gate Bridge. If I wrote the sentence, on a trip to San Francisco, one is likely to visit the Golden Gate Bridge, I don't need to cite that. In the dictionary, in the encyclopedia, wherever you look, you're going to learn that the Golden Gate Bridge is in San Francisco. That one is common knowledge. The next one's a little trickier. If I were in an art history class and we'd been studying architecture, I might not need to cite this sentence. The Golden Gate Bridge is an excellent example of an early 20th century suspension bridge. But in most classes I would, because that wouldn't be common knowledge to my readers. Like I said before, if you're in doubt, cite it. So what do we need to cite? We've got to cite interviews, even if it's from somebody else in the class, words that came from others, other people's ideas, if you found a diagram or a chart that you want to use, even if you have a conversation with somebody else about the topic, and if you're using images, you've got to cite all those things. Hopefully this overview was just a reminder for you of what you need to cite. If you realize that maybe you've been playing it a little loose in your citations, we're happy to help you in the Writing Center. That's what we're here for.